Hello and welcome to the incredibly influential and highly successful podcast. I'm incredibly influential.
And I'm highly successful.
Today is Thursday, August 4th. What do we want to dedicate this episode to? Let's
That's,
did you have a suggestion?
I thought I did, and then, I think it's better for next podcast. We'll do. What do you have? What's your suggestion?
I think we should dedicate this episode to the Taiwan just the all of Taiwan. I was gonna say to the Taiwanese military, but the Taiwanese people are pretty ballin' too. Uh, after all the bullshit that China's been throwing at them for the better part of a century, I think it is pretty nice that they are just absolute chads. What with this whole Nancy Pelosi thing. It's gonna be old news by the time you guys hear about it. She's already gonna be home, but as we're recording this, it is absolutely hilarious that uh, Nancy decided to. She was like, "Yeah, we're." Or no. Sorry, somebody on Nancy's team said that she was going to uh, uh, Taiwan. She didn't even say it herself, but someone on her team said that she was going to Taiwan, and China was real pissed because they're like, "You can't go to Taiwan. Taiwan's not a real country." And the U.S. is like, "Sure, China, sure, they're not a real country." That's our official opinion on them. If you didn't know, but no, Taiwan is the real country.
You
Taiwan
know,
is the real China.
the way you explain this to me, right? It's kind of like how you would explain like a show somebody's never watched. Like I don't know who the characters are. I barely know what you're talking about, right? But I uh I support that you're keeping up with it because I definitely have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
You, I don't know who this Nancy person is. I do know what Taiwan is. All right, I'm not that uninformed, but I don't know anything about the situation.
how do you not know who the Speaker of the House is? Third in line to be the president, but you know where
Well,
fucking Taiwan is.
I don't know where Taiwan is. I know what Taiwan is. That's
What is Taiwan? What is Taiwan?
I'm pretty.
Enlighten me.
Now that you're asking me, I'm getting a little unsure that I know what Taiwan is.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's that difficult of
I
a
I
question.
am 100% sure that Taiwan is a place, right? So, final answer.
Jesus Christ, dude, I'm I'm worried about you, man. I'm very worried about you.
Hey man, like sometimes the news just doesn't get to me,
It does it not get to you, or do you not listen to it? Do you not open your heart to the news?
Well, you see, like the thing is, like the news has to find a way through to me whenever I'm on like a website, like YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is. On Instagram, I doubt I would ever see anything, so that's a bad one, right? On Twitter, I always beeline straight to whoever I follow just to see what they've tweeted. So I don't even look at like the trending. And on YouTube, it's the same thing. I just go to my subscriptions, right? So it's really hard to like get outside information when I always only look at information in my very, very closed loop of followed people. Every now and then I will look at like the little ads, or not the little ads, the little news articles that show up on my phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a little news tab. But because the news is catered towards me, it's always like, here's the new games that are entering Game Pass, or here's the new games that are leaving Game Pass. It's never actually anything political. Um, so it's very rare that I actually ever get like actual information. unless somebody that I follow talks about it, if that makes sense, you know? And in a way, you're somebody that I follow. So I'm learning, right? It's happening.
I mean, you know, I I I feel like you're taking the onus off yourself and putting it on to other people. The you it's your job to stay informed, just like it's your job to vote. It's a civic duty. That's
Well,
what it's
like
called.
I do have to say, I'm under the impression that if something is important enough, I will figure it out by unknown causes. I don't like and that's what happened today, you know. If I didn't know about it, but if it was important enough, you would tell me about it. You know what I mean?
A
You see what I'm trying to
foreign
say?
country just threatened to blow up the person third in line to the presidency, and you
Yeah.
didn't hear about it. I
Well,
don't
I
think
did
your
hear about it.
system works.
Technically,
I don't think your system
I
works.
did hear about it.
You heard about it
Cause
after she's already gone. She went to Taiwan, she's gone now. The part that I was going to talk about that's more timely is that China is doing like a live fire exercise around Taiwan, and Taiwan shot down one of their missiles like
okay,
absolute fucking
well,
chads.
let's talk about where you get your news, right? Because obviously my systems are not working unless it's like
I
very, very
mean,
niche news.
a magician never reveals his secrets. How about that?
uh well, you know, I tried, audience, you know. Let it be known that I tried to figure out
I
where to get the
mean,
news. You
how
know,
did
it's okay.
I didn't need somebody else to tell me where to go to get the news. I just found them and I got it.
You know, every now and then I look up onto the TV and I look at like the news if somebody just leaves it on and I'll be like, "Oh man, look, there's a shooting down the street. That's nice." Or, "Oh, look, there's the weather. That's nice."
There was literally a shooting in the next town over to me tonight, by the way. That happened.
Yeah. I feel like shootings just happen all the time though, you know what I mean? Like it's not really news anymore, is it?
I mean, the sad answer to that is no. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't, pay attention to it and be like and like give up on it,
No, no, I'm
you
not
know.
saying like to give up on it. I'm just saying like it's just depressing if it's always, you know, the first thing in the news every single day is, "Oh man, somebody else got shot." You know, it's just I don't know. I don't watch a lot of the news, but every time that I've watched the news, like in passing, it's always something like really bad, you know? It's never like well, sometimes it's good news, but most of the time it's bad news. You know what I mean?
If it were good news, it would be. Oh no, no, that's not true. That is not true. There was good news this week. There was a there's a lot of good economic news. We're gonna avoid a recession pretty 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 handily. Actually, it looks like we're gonna be safe, and that's really good. I'm glad that we're not going to have a recession. My Disney stocks are back above $100. That's fucking good.
Wait, like what so what would you call how the economy's been? You know, I know there's a whole bunch of different words. There's like recession, depression, all the
The
different words, right?
the
It's
rule
obvious.
is
Okay.
that if there's I think it is 2 quarters. I think if there's 2 quarters without economic growth, it's a recession.
Mhm.
Um, but Joe Biden, uh, the ultimate fucking mega chad that he is, you know what he said? He was just like, "No, we're not in a recession. We're not." And everyone's like, "No, but we've got 2 quarters. It was 2 quarters without any growth." And he's like, "I don't care. We're not in a recession." And guess what? We're not. Gas is under $5 in Illinois. It's a fucking Christmas miracle in early August, dude. It is. It is an
You know,
absolute Christmas fucking miracle.
the last time I bought gas, right? I kind of got lost in thought and bought like $20 more gas than I wanted to buy at the time. So I haven't bought gas in a while because I kind of got more than I needed back then. I also don't drive a lot of places.
How much do you fill your car to?
Usually, I'll just put $40 in, and I'll just see how far it takes me.
$40. How big is your tank? What the fuck? How large is your fucking gas tank, dude?
Like 15 gallons, I think.
And you have to spend.
$40 would be like, I don't know, 10 gallons. But I like I said, it went kind of got lost in thought. I put like $58 in, like close to 60. So I had nearly a full tank. And because I haven't really been driving as of recently, it's been like 2 weeks, maybe more, since I even had to think about gas. So I haven't even like worried about it really. But if it's going down, that's good. I'll definitely have to check next time I go need some. But
You know, you use more gas filling up and like stop being like, oh shit, I'm empty, I'm gonna stop and fill up, and only putting in a certain amount of your gas than you would from just filling it up. You know what I do? You know what I do? Because I'm a fucking giga chad, right?
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I do?
sure. What you
I
do?
put that shit in there, I put the lock on, and I just sit there and wait. I don't go back in the car. I do not go back in the car, especially not in winter, because you can cause a static shock that sets the gas on fire. You don't want to do that. But I just sit there, baby. I just let it go. You know why? Because I don't care. I don't fucking care. I drove 1,000 miles when gas in Illinois was over $5. You think I give a shit? You think I fucking give a shit? Fuck nah. I'm crazy, dog. I am crazy.
It is
I
kind of one
am.
of those things though where I'm not sure about you, Nick, but I have had a lot of bad like car experiences since I have started owning my cars, right? And it's one of those things where I don't know what will set off the next bad string of events, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't ever do anything to 100%. I always go about 80%, and then I'm like, that's probably fine, right? And that's how I do it with gas, right? Because I feel as though some stupid unknown problem to me will happen if I have full gas and this and that and whatever happens, and then I have to pay for something, right? And I'm like, if I just stick around 70-80% gas, that's fine by me. Nobody's hurt, nobody's bothered, right?
But your
It
wallet is because you use more gas stopping and pulling into there.
well
You
well
know?
Nick, I
You
have
lose
to.
about a mile of gas every time you start your car. Maybe even more because yours is pretty old. And
Mine's like a 2011. It's not super old, but
I drive a what is it? 2017? I drive a 2017, dude. And even I
dang.
lose a gallon of gas every time I start it. Or not a gallon of gas, a mile of gas. And
I was gonna
my
say a gallon is a lot.
that Jesus Christ, it costs $4 to start my car. Fuck. Hey, what with how BMW is charging people to use their fucking
Oh, I heard about that. The seat warmers or whatever.
yeah, the heat warmers are on a fucking subscription service. What with Beamers charging people to use their fucking seat warmers even though they're literally installed in the car? Bro, I wouldn't
You
be
know, I
surprised if someone like Elon Musk or one of those fucking shitty car companies is just like, yeah, we're gonna charge you to start your car now. We're
you
gonna
know
charge you to unlock your car. Fuck
it.
you.
It is it's super duper crazy how like the further and further we get on in the years, right? There's always just somebody else with some stupid way to make a lot of money. And the sad thing is, sometimes it catches on, and then whenever it catches on, then everybody loses pretty much, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, so like for example, if this BMW thing, you know, like if enough people like in positions of power are like, you know what, that's a great idea, then we're just gonna have to start paying for everything in a car.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know, I just I hope that it doesn't catch on. I hope that it's just like something that fizzles out, but I don't know, like because it's the whole thing like with remember like back in the day like when Fortnite was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
They did the whole free to play model, and now like every other game that you see is, oh man, we're free to play, but if you want to have like any content in the game, you got to spend like $30, like every couple months. You know, it's like things like that. Whenever something catches on, it just keeps going and going and going.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not a big fan of the season pass thing. I'm definitely not a big fan of the seat warmer thing because that I like the season pass thing is a little bit justifiable, but seat warmers I can't imagine anybody getting behind it. Not not even a little bit. Granted, I do live in Texas, so seat warmers aren't the most useful thing to me, but
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of shitty practices. That's the nature of capitalism. That's the nature of oligopoly and capitalism. In the way capitalism is supposed to work, you're supposed to businesses are supposed to make it better for consumers. You know, everything is supposed to be more beneficial for the consumers, and then all the other companies adopt that innovation to compete with them, and then it's a competition to make it more beneficial for the consumer. But in actuality, it's uh, everyone is looking for ways to become more profitable, and they don't care about the consumer. They want to fuck the consumer raw up the butt with a sandpaper dildo. They don't give a shit about uh, they don't give a shit about you or earning your business and your trust. You know, I'm taking these business classes. You know, I I had an A. I'm within 1% point of an A as of right now in my business and business communications classes, and you know they're teaching us all this shit about uh you gotta you get brand loyalty, you gotta make your customers keep coming back, but you don't want them, you don't really care about customer loyalty, you care about making money, you know, and it sucks, it really does suck, but that's the world we live in, and that's why capitalism without regulations wouldn't work. And yeah, that's all I have to say on the subject. Fuck
I
BMW. Uh, what were we originally talking about?
um politics, I think.
I don't know how we fucking got here.
I you know,
Brain fog gone. I know there was Nancy Pelosi, and we talked about the BMWs.
like
Yeah.
okay, well, talking about like my car situation, right? A little bit. I've noticed something, right, Nick? You know, I don't know about you, right? But I have like one of those little phone holders in my car, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I like to like, you know, put on a playlist. Maybe I want to click skip on a song, so it's like right there. I just skip it. You know, I'm not like watching videos or anything, right? For anybody out there worrying. But I have like a little phone holder, right? And because I bought this car from my girlfriend, she already had like one like installed that's like a suction cup on like the what is it called?
Windshield.
The windshield. That's what it's called. Yeah. I don't know why I was gonna say windscreen, but yeah, windshield. Um, the problem is that I've noticed that it's like unusable to use any sort of like phone holder between like the hours of like 9 a.m. and like 6 p.m. because I put my phone there and the sun just completely destroys everything my phone tries to do. My phone just goes, it's overheating, and then the internet turns off, and then it powers off. And if I'm
I have
using,
that same issue. in my car. I have a charger one,
Mhm.
and when it's during the summer, it's out in the sun all the time.
Mhm.
So obviously it gets very very hot.
Mhm. You know,
And
and I
yeah, it overheats. And what I have to do is I take it off the phone holder. I put it. So let me explain the dashboard system in my car, right? So
okay.
I have the little normal screen. I don't have a touch screen. I have the one that has the dials and the buttons.
Yeah.
And it has the two air conditioner vents on top of it.
Mhm.
And it's like about just wide enough to fit my phone on if I lay it horizontally. So I just do that
See, that's the
on
same
there for
thing I
15
do,
minutes.
right? I
Yeah.
like I'll be in the middle of driving my car, right? And my phone will start doing this crap, right? And I just take it off and like with one hand on the wheel, one hand just hovering my phone over the AC vent
Mm-hmm.
until it starts working again, right? And it's so annoying and so stupid because I've been going to plasma, right? So I've been going out like around that time, like I was saying, right, where it's like real hot. And I'll put on my music, it'll be great. It'll be fine for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, right? But it's like a 20-25 minute drive. It's not super close, but it's not super far, right? And then I notice the music stops, right? And then I look at my little screen and it says phone's overheating, internet not working. And I'm just like it's just so annoying every time.
What phone did you say you have?
I have my phone's a little bit old at this point. I have a Pixel 4. I think they're on like the 6 or 7 now, but I had it like let me think. It was uh, okay, so it was like sophomore year of high school, I think. I had a Pixel 2, and
Yes.
then I think I had some battery problems with it. So this phone I got maybe 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a couple years. So it's not super duper new. But now, like let me tell you, like besides like the problems that I have with like the car stuff, right?
Yeah.
My phone is mostly fine. I know that my girlfriend, she I feel like she really is into the whole like, oh man, we should have matching phones thing. So she always is trying to encourage me to buy a new phone. But I've always been under the philosophy, if it's not broken, then it's fine, you know. So it's been going great for me. I have like the large screen on it too, and I'm pretty sure if I upgraded it, I would not want to buy the large screen again.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard about if it had heating issues. I think the Androids had a lot of heating issues, and they still do. In fact, one of the Galaxy phones literally had a heating issue that was so bad that it fucking caught fire, and people still buy phones from them. Jesus
Well, you
Christ,
see,
what's
like
wrong with you
the thing
people?
about those phones though, right? Are those phones they heat up just from using them. Like mine obviously is like actively
Yeah,
suspended
yeah,
in the
yeah.
sun, right? So it's a little
Yeah,
different.
mine too.
The the only problems I've had with these Pixel phones in the past has been with the battery issues. I think that my first phone, uh, it was the Pixel 2 at that point. That phone, just one day, the battery just did not want to charge and it just died and it never turned on again. And, like usually, like a lot of the times, people will break their phone and that's why they have to buy a new one. But I've
Mm-hmm.
never had that happen to me. I've always been super duper protective of my phone. I've dropped it every now and then, of course, everybody accidentally does, right?
Yeah.
I always make sure I have a case and a screen protector and this and that. So, like, most of the time, it's never a problem. The only time I've ever had to replace a phone is, well, obviously, my first phone was like a super duper old phone. Do you know the Samsung Galaxy Avant?
I'm not familiar. No. No, no,
Well,
no.
it's
I'm
kind
not.
of like a smaller version of like the Galaxy 2, right? And that was the phone I had from like 8th grade to like 10th grade, right? So upgrading from that phone to like the Pixel 2, it was like a huge leap forward, right? Because my phone at the time was already considered old when I bought it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So going from a phone that was like already like super duper old to a phone that was like pretty much brand new for its time, it was like night and day, right? My old Galaxy Avant, I have it in my little drawer back there. It still works and still turns on, and I think that, like people that made those phones, they did it right, at least for longevity, right?
Yeah.
I do
My
notice that the further and further we get on in like the whole like phone race, I guess, they get so many more nice, cool features, but they also get so much more fragile, you know?
I don't know. I've since I've gotten an iPhone, the so when I first got a phone, I don't even remember what it was. It was some kind of like Samsung or
Mm.
Motorola or some shit. It was a touch
W-
phone,
Well,
barely.
I did have an older phone. My older phone was like one of those like block phones, that had like the tiny
Yeah.
little like inch and a half screen and it had like the little buttons on it.
Yeah.
That was my first phone, and let me tell you, like, I hated that so much, especially since everybody else at my age had touchscreen phones.
Yeah. I see
I
I had that experience later. I had that experience later. So well, how it started was I would go to my dad's over the summer in Wisconsin, and I had like an iPod Touch, but it couldn't make like calls if it wasn't hooked up to Wi-Fi. So
hmm
I got like an actual phone, and yeah, I had that, and I went. My mom got it for me so I could call her while I was there because I'd be gone for 3 months. I saw her. She would come out for like one weekend during the whole summer, and that's when I would see her. And for the rest of the time, it was just me and my dad and my
hmm
stepmom at the time. And uh, that first summer we did that phone, I don't remember what happened to it, but it sucked. So I don't know what happened to it, but my mom got me another one, and that one I think was having some issues, and like I was trying to talk to my mom, or something about it was having an issue, and I was trying to talk to my mom about it, and she wasn't listening, and I was like, "Mom, it's like broke, or it's like broken and shit," and she wasn't listening, so she hung up on me. So I picked it up, and this I was a little shit back then. I picked it up and I threw it at my basement wall, and it just shattered. Oh my god.
You
I
know,
have
I
I have a hell of an arm.
you have a hell of a temper too. Like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. I mean, it took a couple of months. I didn't Good thing was I
You
didn't
know,
really
I
need it.
I have a question. Like, have you ever been to like an anger management or anything like that, or
I resent that you think I have an anger problem,
no?
and
I'm just
I'm gonna
asking.
fucking
Like,
punch you in the dick. You son of a bitch. I'll
I'm
kill you.
just I'm just curious because like my brother, I remember a long, long time ago, he went to anger management, and I feel like he's like completely. It's like his anger is like not there anymore, right? But I feel like you went to like the whole like boarding school thing, right? And I feel like you should also have changed, but you did not really change while you were gone. You kind of came back louder and
Wow,
not.
maybe that should tell you what the quality of boarding schools does to people. Maybe there's a problem there. Maybe sending your kids away is not the best idea. Maybe you should fucking you know maybe you should accept the fact that kids are going to be real angry, and then sending them away to fucking boarding school doesn't really help with their temper, honestly.
I am curious, like
There's other options, assholes.
like what was the catalyst for you getting sent away? Because
Um.
I remember you getting sent away, right? And I remember it being like very abrupt to me, right? But I'm sure there was some sort of like lead up or something. And
Oh, it was pretty abrupt to me too, kind of. Um. Yeah. It was pretty abrupt to me too. I mean, if we're gonna tell this story, I think we should do the ad break first, and then we'll
we are
tell this
about the
story.
halfway point. All right. I know this podcast has kind of already been everywhere, but
Yeah. All
we'll
right.
we'll be back and hopefully be a little bit more focused.
I mean, yeah. Let's take a break and sort of recalibrate, and let me figure out how I'm gonna tell this story. All right. Yeah, we'll be back in a bit. Uh, Stay tuned. See ya. This episode has been generously sponsored by skunknuggetparenting.com, run by my own talented mother. Parenting is hard. Sometimes kids and parents are like night and day. It can be very hard to get on the same page with them, and a lot of parents have anxiety that maybe they're doing it all wrong. Luckily, there is a service out there that can help. Skunk Nugget Parenting Solutions is a company that provides parent coaching services, resource referrals, and psychological profiling, along with 24/7 phone and text access in an all virtual program. Plus, the first consultation is free. In order to get this amazing service, please visit skunknuggetparenting.com. That is skunknuggetparenting.com. Thank you to Skunk Nugget Parenting Solutions for sponsoring this episode. Thank you all for listening. And now, back to the podcast. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for staying through the ads. Very appreciated. Um, uh, when we left for a little break, we said I was gonna tell my story as to why I got sent away for so long because I was being a little shit. And yeah, sure. Let's tell that story. Um, so when I was a kid, this is about uh I had just turned 13 that year, so it was seventh grade. So when I guess we'll go back to sixth grade. So when I was in sixth grade, I had left public school to go to a private school because my mom had gotten a job with a business that had a connection with one of the best private schools in the area. You know, the mayor of this was in Harrisburg. The mayor of Harrisburg's kid went there. Um, yeah, so a lot of important people went there. Um, like in Pennsylvania and national history. So it was pretty cool to go there. But I was there for all of sixth grade, and then up until from the start of the year in about August in seventh grade to October 15th I was there for seventh grade, and then we moved because my mom got a better job in in Chicago, and so we moved to Indiana. And the first school I went to, we were on one side of the county line. There's like a little bridge that kind of goes over the county line. So we were on the other side of the bridge from where we would end up. So we were there for about a month and a half up until Thanksgiving break. Thanksgiving break is when we moved into the new house. So I was moving. I went to three schools in the span of 3 months. I started at the new school in December, and at neither of these two new schools did I really fit in all that much. I was mad at my mom for leaving. I was mad that nobody really took me seriously. I said I wanted to do online school, right? Because like I I don't know if you know me, but I'm in real life I'm not the most social of butterflies, if you know what I mean. I would much rather stay home and not talk to any new people or meet anyone new. So I was not particularly fond of the idea of public school. But
I definitely feel like from your personality that I've picked up over the years that you would be better with in-person interactions. Are
that's
you
what
telling
people
me
say.
that it's only an online kind of thing, because I feel like it would translate, doesn't it?
Um, I am not. I would say I'm probably not extroverted. I don't receive energy from social
Yeah,
interactions.
like
It gets sapped from me.
I feel like I'm the same way, right? I'm not extroverted, right? But I still feel like during that little bit of time where I do have like energy to be around people, I can interact pretty well, right? In some social situations, just not for obviously for long periods of time.
Yeah, I
Is
would
it?
say I'm
It's kind of
I'm
like that.
not the best. Yeah, yeah. I would say what it is for me is for me I do better with small groups and most of all like one on one, like very individual type
Yeah,
stuff.
like that's the same way with me, right? Because I noticed that whenever the group becomes a little too big, it kind of becomes a little overwhelming, and it kind of becomes one of those things where for me, I kind of just I feel like either fall out of the group or fall off in the conversation.
Yeah, my upper limit I've found is uh about a dozen people, including me. Um,
I feel like that's even too high for me. I feel like maybe eight
yeah,
people, including me, is probably the highest. Like
it,
I would prefer around like four or five, I think.
yeah,
Obviously, the smaller it gets, the better it gets, especially because it becomes a lot more manageable to, be part of a conversation if there's only like four people or like less.
yeah. Um, I'm just saying 12 people because that's usually what my. We'll get there in the story. We'll get there in the
Mhm,
story.
mhm, mhm.
Back to the story. So I didn't really fit in at any of these new schools. I was sort of just there for, uh, you know, I was just there, like never really fit in with too many people. Um, I was the new kid. I didn't really have any established friends, and I never really made that many. So that just it kind of sucked. Because I had gone to public school for a little while, and I didn't really fit in all that well in private school. But I was the bad boy because I had been to public school before, and I was rebellious and uh you know I did all those cool things that most people didn't do. You know, like I used cuss words in sixth grade in a private school, bro. That's crazy. I was the bad kid. So, uh,
Hey man, like during elementary school, it's one of those things where I feel like if parents and all that are trying to be worried about their kid at sixth grade, I feel like they usually will figure it out by the time they're older, right?
mm-hmm.
So I don't know, because I know that a lot of parents they just get real worried if their really young son isn't on the right track. It's just like give him a little bit of time, right?
Yeah.
And look at you
Um,
now, now you're incredibly influential.
I was really worried that you
Hey,
were gonna. No, I'm not even gonna finish that sentence. I'm not even gonna finish the sentence
no,
that I
not
was going to say. Back to my story.
anyways.
So
Anyway,
back to my story. So I didn't fit in. I didn't really have any friends. Because I was, I was used to getting by on, public school coolness back in private school.
this was like before or after you left.
No, this was before. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I gotta set
I
the stage.
I'm just
This is
it's a lot of setup.
It is a lot of setup, and there's gonna be
Okay, well, keep going,
you
keep going, keep going, keep going.
you're curious, you want to know. And we're gonna set it straight, and there needs to be some setup. So I'd gotten by on being the bad boy, but that didn't work anymore because this
Hmm.
was back to public school, and this was like a shitty ass public middle school, like right over the border from Illinois. So it's like uh people were like doing drugs at this point. People were having sex at this point, and it's uh this was way out of my element. So ironically, the time in which I was cool had made me soft. So yeah, like the time that I was perceived as being cool had made me soft. And
You
so
know, that's the thing, though, right? I feel like I never made it to the being cool stage. I feel like I never
we
had the
know,
opportunity.
we know, we noticed. Don't worry.
And I feel like your being cool stage was more of a facade than it was an actual thing, right?
No, because I didn't not do those
Were
things. When you
you
met me,
were
I
you,
was swearing
no, but like
and
here's the thing, like were you cool or were you feared, right? Because I feel like there's a slight difference, right? Because the school bully isn't cool, he's just feared, right? And was that you? Were you like
no, I had friends. I had friends.
that? Yeah, but I feel like you'd have to have like a majority of the friends at the school in order
It was a
to.
really small class. Like, let me. Uh,
So
if
you were the cool person in your class. I thought you said like in
No,
your
no, no.
school.
Well, this was sixth grade, so we had gone into doing like multiple. Let Our entire grade was the size of was almost the size of one of my elementary school classes. So there was
Okay,
like
so I
35 to 40 of us
okay, see now
in
see
per grade.
like you were like up playing it up like you were like the most popular person and I thought there was a lot of people. Okay, I think I'm understanding now. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in the middle school, I was making waves. You know,
You making
I-
waves.
between 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I was decently popular. I was in that little division because there was lower school, middle school, and upper school. They didn't want to call it elementary, middle, and high because they're idiots. Um,
Is
but
that like an Illinois thing or
no, no, this was in Pennsylvania. This was in
oh this
Pennsylvania.
it's a
This is the
Pennsylvania
private
thing.
school. Yeah, this is the private school thing.
Oh, the private schools. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
My
private.
grade was
Okay,
every
yeah.
grade was about like 40 kids. So overall, I think there was less people there than there were in my elementary school because my elementary school had like four or five classes per grade and about 20 kids per class. So yeah, there was probably less people at the private school than there was in just my elementary school when I was growing up. So, but yeah, I was decently popular because I was, again, I was a bad boy. I was a rebel. I didn't play by the rules. I didn't do my homework. I said swears. I was talking to chicks older than me. There was a
Were
girl in
you?
seventh. There was a girl in seventh grade who was pretty into me. Um, for like most of the uh
Like I
most
saw
of the
that
time.
happen with like some of my friends whenever I was like what in like fifth and sixth grade, they would like be talking to somebody a grade older, and I just didn't understand how that worked out, and usually it didn't work out, but
Yeah, it never worked out with her, which is really sad because uh we now so God damn it, you're getting me fucking sidetracked. But I want to tell this story because it is actually kind of a bummer. So what happened was in that in my sixth grade year, we were doing there was like you got two study halls and you
Mhm.
could fill them with either drama or art, or for the first one, and for the second one you can fill it with band or orchestra. I said, give me a study hall in that second one, and I'll take drama. So I think you had to be in at least one. So I was in drama, and I played, and I was we did one of those kiddie musicals, and the female lead was she was
I
actually pretty into me, and it was uh we didn't really get to talking too much until like the night of the show, but like that was when I kind of clicked in,
do
and I was like,
you
wait,
do
she's
you
totally into me.
do you remember the musical at all?
Oh, it wasn't a musical. It wasn't a musical. The upper school kids were doing a musical. It was the Seuss Odyssey. So it was like the Odyssey, but retold in a Dr. Seuss kind of way.
Was that the only one you were in?
Yeah, we spent all year practicing for it, or like most of the year practicing for it.
Like, cause I think I was a part of like did you ever do like the elementary school like
No,
theater stuff?
my public school was too poor for that.
Yeah, cause
My
I
public
did
school was way too poor for
I
that.
did like the elementary school one, right? And I remember this very well. I don't remember what the musical or the play was. I don't think it was a musical. It was probably just a play. I remember I was just my whole role was the kid who gets bullied. That was my entire role because I was
Wow. Imagine playing yourself. Wow,
you
that's
know,
easy.
and I don't know why I remember it so vividly. My whole role was just cower in fear.
Dude, that's perfect for you, dude. That's amazing.
And
Dude,
I
that's like Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark, dude. That's perfect casting. My
perfect
god.
casting.
Oh, that's perfect, dude. Oh, that's
I just
incredible.
felt like, this I had to share that because it was very vivid memory whenever you started talking about your play.
Yeah. So,
Core
uh
memory.
yeah, but she was uh I got the sense that she actually had a crush on me, but I never really acted on it. And then in like 7th grade, right as I was leaving, she was like, "Oh, it's a shame you're not going to that dance. I would love to go with you." And I was like, "Ah, damn it." Cuz she was actually really cool. And she was moving away too, so it wouldn't have worked out, but like she was really cool. So, Isabel, if you're out there, hit me up. I'll
If you're out there,
I'll
yeah, our,
I'll go
our
to that dance with
podcast
you.
email is
IHS podcast biz.
shoot us an email or hit
Yeah,
us up
on our
on
business
Twitter
email. Yeah. Yeah, on our business email, dude.
or
It's
subscribe
yeah.
to us on Patreon. All of the above.
Yeah. Yeah. No, hit me up. I'll take you to that dance. It's a little bit late now, but
And if
you
you're not out
know,
there and y'all know an Isabel, just share it to as many Isabels as you know.
sure. Why not? Why not? Yeah. Fuck
And while
it.
you're at it, just share it to everyone. Why not,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. God damn it, you sidetracked me from my fucking story. Okay. So, shut up. Stop. Just let me finish this. Okay?
No, no, okay,
Just
okay,
don't.
okay, it's fine.
Okay. So, I wasn't cool. I got bullied a lot. And I was like, fuck this. Enough is enough. I'm not going back to school. And mom was like, you have to go back to school. And I'm like, I'm not going back. And so, what I decided to do, because I was a manipulative little shit, with no conscience whatsoever, is I cut up my wrist and I sent her a video of it. I'm like, do this again, and make me go to school, and this is what's gonna happen. And she
Okay. So
fucking
you're a
flipped out.
so you're a little psychopath. Okay. You
Uh,
know, like you see, I was wondering where the catalyst of the story was, and I think we figured it out. I think it's this moment right here.
best part though. Here's the best part though. I didn't go back to that school. I didn't go back to that school. To this day, I have not even set foot in the parking lot of that school. Suck it. I
Okay.
win. I won.
Okay. Where's the logical next step though? Tell me about that.
So the next step is they sent me to the hospital because I had been slitting my fucking wrists. I obviously didn't do it very deep because I'm not a fucking idiot, for fuck's sake.
You see, I never understood the whole like slitting your wrist thing, but as somebody who's done that before, can you explain the rationale?
It's for it's mostly just for attention, or it's mostly
Ah,
just to like, most people do it because it hurts and they have like a complex thing about it or whatever. It's not effective way of killing yourself. Please don't do it. It don't attempt
Um,
suicide in general, but don't do that.
yeah, I definitely feel like suicide in general just isn't
S-
very good.
Contrary to the statements of Danny DeVito, and I know that, I can't go against the Lord himself, but contrary to the statements of Danny DeVito,
Wait,
suicide is not badass.
wait, when did he say that? I need to see this clip. It's like, where is this from?
And you'll never will. And you
No,
never will.
I want to do some research after this podcast. I want to try to get down to the bottom of this.
Yeah. So they sent me to the hospital, and then after that, they released me from the hospital because obviously I wasn't actually depressed or anything. I was just doing that to manipulate people because I'm very intelligent, and I
Well,
manipulated them into letting me out. Except, no, I didn't, because I fell for the trick that they always do, and they always do this. Everyone I've talked to, they've always told me the exact same thing: is that when you go to the mental hospital, they will tell you that they're delaying their them letting you out your outtake. They're delaying that, and they want to see how you react. Right? They'll delay it by a couple of days, and they want to see how you react. They want to get a reaction out of you, because if they can get a reaction out of you, then they get to keep you there, and they get to take more money from your health insurance company. So
mhm.
the trick is, when they say that, if you're going to go to a mental hospital, if they say that to you, do not react in any way, because they're absolutely just trying to manipulate you. And the best way to get out of a mental hospital is to manipulate them back, because they're not very smart.
You see that, like, that's the thing. I've heard a lot about mental hospitals, how even if you are healthy, even if you like act completely healthy, they think that you're trying to play a trick, and then they still won't let you out.
No. They don't care about you getting better. They
Yeah, that's
want
the
your
thing, right?
dollars. They want your money.
You know,
So,
and I feel like,
yeah.
yeah, it's those are just like really scary places just to think about as somebody who obviously isn't mentally unstable, to know that if I was ever admitted to one, that I'd probably still not be able to get out. You know what I mean? Because
Oh,
I've heard
yeah.
all the horror
Absolutely not.
stories, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. The mental health system in this country is fucked.
Hmm.
But what happened next is they did finally let me out. They squeezed my parents out of 2 weeks of outpatient.
Hmm.
Um, so they could get their fucking dollars. Those goddamn nuns, they like to screw you out of their money.
Hmm.
Those
Hmm.
fucking Catholics love to steal you out of your money. I swear. You have to buy indulgences to commit sins, dude. Catholic Church is a fucking scam. But anywho,
I
but
buy
anywho, let me finish.
indulgences.
Let
I
me finish.
I just
Do
have so
your
many
own research on the
questions.
Catholic Church. But fucking, let me finish the story. So then, the hospital I went to was owned by nuns, and they're greedy. The Catholic Church is greedy. Anywho,
Sure.
um, what? So they screwed my parents out of 2 more weeks of outpatient therapy, and then they were like, "Well, uh, we don't know where to send him. He's perfectly fine to go back to public school." And my parents were like, "No, he's not. He's gonna do some shit." So my parents were like, "You can either go to military school or boarding school or both, um, or you can go to a wilderness therapy program, or you could go back to public school." And I'm like, "Fuck no, I'm not going back to public school. I want to do online school." And they're like, "You're not gonna do online school. You're not gonna do it. You're just gonna not do anything." And I'm like, and what's really funny about that later is that I have almost straight A's right now. I'm within 1 percentage point in 2 classes of being in straight A's. So,
I
in all
Yeah,
online
I
school.
feel like
So suck it.
that's the thing. I've noticed that online school is one of those things where maybe it's just like for people like me and you, I find it really easy just because it's a lot of the time it's self-paced. It's one of those things where you can just do it at your own tempo. You don't got to worry about
Yeah.
people.
I hate having to fucking show up for class. That's my thing. I don't want to have to
Yeah,
drive anymore, dude. I'm going in person in the fall. Anywho, let me finish my fucking story. I gotta finish my fucking story.
just
Ah!
finish your fucking story.
You keep interrupting me.
I like talking, okay?
I
God.
know you do. That's why you agreed to start a podcast where we talk. But let me finish the story, and then you could talk all about working your wood or whatever the fuck. I don't care. But so they sent me on the last night of outpatient. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna go someplace. We're gonna have a bunch of fun." So my parents told me they were gonna take me to go see Deadpool, and they screwed me out of that. And I think we went to the fun zone place. I don't know the actual name of it, but we went to a fun, one of those like the big Chuck E. Cheeses, right? Like the thing that's kind of like Chuck E. Cheese but bigger, and they've got like go karts and shit in there. We went to one of those instead. It was all right. My parents said they were gonna take me to Deadpool after, but then no, actually I'm too tired. And then at fucking 4 in the morning, 4 in the goddamn morning, you know what happens?
Well, tell
My
me.
mom knocks on my door, tells me that this like I think both of them uh were above 6 feet. This 6 foot Samoan couple were going to take me to a place in Utah for like a wilderness place. And yeah, so they took me all the way to they took me to the airport. We flew all the way to Las Vegas, and then we drove the rest of the way into Utah. And I was there for 3 months. That Samoan couple was really nice, by the way. I forget their names, but shout out to them. They were really cool. Um, but yeah, uh, I was there for about 3 months, and I went to boarding school for about 17 months, and I came back, and I was pissed. And I was even more pissed, and it didn't work on me. So get a good get a the moral of the story here is get a if your kid is having trouble, get someone who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about to send you someplace good, because the person who was in charge of sending me to places fucked up. And I think that's why my mom decided to go into her own little parent counseling business, so she can make sure that nobody else has to go through what we went through. Because the lady who decided to recommend that place fucked up. Because you can attest, I came back louder and angrier.
Well,
So
I wouldn't say louder and angrier. I just would say that the level didn't change, you know? You think that it would have gotten like less, and I feel like it kind of just stayed the same. Because like it's a really long time ago now, right? But I do remember you being pretty much the exact same as when you came back, and I'm like, why was he gone for so long? And then I heard your story, and I'm like, obviously nothing changed. So it seemed like it was kind of a waste of time on on your part there.
what sucks is the wilderness place I went to, it's called Red Cliff Ascent, and it's one of the legit ones, right? Like there's some wilderness places that you can send kids that have like barely any wilderness involved. But Red Cliff, at least when I went there, was fucking legit. Like they didn't even give you backpacks when you got there. You had to earn that shit. You had to chicken dinner that shit. Dude, you
You know, I do feel like that type of experience of like the wilderness and all that, like I feel like it could be like a positive thing. I just feel like under the circumstances, I don't know if I would have been as down with it, you know?
Oh, I shouldn't have been. My outdoor experience was not very much, but I by the end of it, I wasn't, I wasn't like making fires all the time, but I had made 14 fires out of sticks. Uh I had climbed 2 mountains. You know, I was doing like 2.5, 3, 4, 5 mile hikes almost every day. At least 5 days or at least 2 times a week. If the maximum we could do was 5 5 hiking days per week. We had 2 days for full body hygiene days. Um, but we hiked at least 3 days a week, pretty much. Um, and yeah, I got some fucking work done. I tell you what, I lost a lot of weight when I went there. And I gained it all back at boarding school. I had zened out and sort of, gotten a lot more, maybe not as mellow, but like I had really like matured a whole bunch and like had a lot more patience. All gone by the time I went to boarding school. It it was the boarding school that I went to was the one that fucked me up, and I don't think you should send your kids there. Daniel's Academy. I'll say it. My personal review. I don't want to get in any legal trouble, but I'll end this podcast by saying that Daniel's Academy is a shit program that you shouldn't send your kids to. And with that, let's go on to the big red button.
The big red button. All right. Now let me tell you, Nick, I did the same thing I did last time. I like went on the website, I like refreshed it a whole bunch of times, and I found 2 questions which I'm gonna tell you, right?
Are we
Um
doing? How about you save one? You save one for next week. How about that?
okay, well, okay, I'll do the one that's more interesting, right?
Okay. All right. Sure thing.
And you'll tell me what you think of the question, right? Because I tried to find a good one. I feel like this one's pretty decent, right?
Yeah,
So
for
this
sure.
one is karma really exists. If you do a good thing, something good will happen to you. But if you do something bad, you're fucked. Their words, not mine.
You're fucked.
Their words. That's how it was written. I had
Hey,
word for word.
hey, don't threaten me with a good time. That sounds like a win-win situation, baby. Woo!
Hey, let's click the button. Woo!
I'm clicking that button, motherfucker. All right. What's the next one?
Was that,
What's the other one?
wait, that was it? Okay.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, now I feel a little embarrassed because that was like that was the better of the two. The other one I thought was really bad, and that's why I was
No,
just
no.
gonna
All
skip
right. Do you
it.
want to do? All right. Let's do the bad one as a bonus, but let's go back to the karma one. I mean, if we're assuming that you're fucked means that an act of equivalent badness happens to you. I mean, yeah. Uh, I think that having karma be real would greatly benefit not only.
Like, here's the thing, right? Does karma only affect us, or does it affect everyone? Because if it affects everyone, then of course I'll click the button. Because then all of my
Well,
worst enemies will get punished justly, and I won't have to do anything about it.
Well, did it say you said when you were reading it, you said karma exists and then comma if you do a good thing, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it said karma exists. All right, so karma exists for everyone.
Oh, well, in
Is
that
is what I'm
case,
saying.
I
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, I feel like it's not that bad because I feel like you and I are not terrible people. Uh, Me more than you, you
No, I'm a,
know.
I'm a terrible person, as has been revealed in this podcast. I am
Yes,
a
yes,
terrible person.
yes. You are more of a terrible person than I am. That's for sure. So I feel like I'm safe to click this button. I feel like I click it, I'm good, because I've been a little spiteful before, right? I wouldn't say I've done something. I've done like a lot of bad things, but I have chosen not to do some good things. If that makes sense, you know what I mean, right?
I mean, well, spite is a bad thing. Spite is not good. You're not supposed to be spiteful.
Yeah, like it's like
Spitefulness
if
is
you. It
bad.
depends on how you act on it, though, right? Because karma depends on actions, and I feel like me hating somebody or me disliking somebody isn't a bad action. It's just a bad, I guess feeling or trait, right? It just depends on if you act on those like bad emotions, right? And I feel like for the most part, whenever I'm really spiteful, I will choose maybe not to do something good, but I also won't intentionally do something bad,
Mm-hmm.
Because I like to think about being petty, but I don't like actually being petty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've I have been recently like going on like Reddit, on like subreddits, right, and just like reading like stories, and I found this one Reddit that like it just reminded me of. Have you ever heard of malicious compliance?
I think I've heard. I think I was doing malicious compliance, and I had heard about malicious compliance like as a psychological thing long before I had heard of the subreddit. But yeah.
Yeah, like that's the type of thing that I feel like if there was a bad thing that I would do, it would kind of be along those lines. You know what I mean, right? Because you hear
Mm-hmm.
stories on that subreddit like, oh, they called me and asked me to pay a 10-cent fee on like on a phone call I did, right?
Yeah.
So they mailed it in, and it costs like $10 to mail it in for 10 cents that they got in return, like things like that, right? Where it's just them being like really petty about it. I feel like those are the type of things that I feel like I would consider like the worst things that I would do. I wouldn't like intentionally like vandalize something or hurt somebody or do things like that, right? And if it's like equal level of like bad happens to me, right? I feel like I could do bad things every now and then if they're like on that level. You know what I mean, right? But for the most part, I feel like I do great things all the time. I'm a great person.
Yeah. I speaking of bad things, I kind of want to end the episode. I want to do a little bit of a bonus thing here, but I don't know if I can read this on this podcast, dude. We're trying to get sponsors and shit,
Well,
man.
it's
I'm
the
a
last couple minutes, you know. It's
no
fine.
no.
Who
I'm just
listens
I'm just
to
gonna
like
send this to you. I'm gonna send this to you. Uh um I'm gonna send this to you. Um and if you how about you look at that and you tell me if I should read that on the podcast. Uh
okay.
let's just say certain things are going viral on Reddit. Um um
Let me see it.
mm, mm, fuck. That's funny. That's
R
funny.
slash confessions. Okay, wait. Let me
Don't
look.
read the title out loud. Don't
I'm
read the
not. I'm
title out
not. I'm not. I'm just
loud.
reading the.
Yeah, let's just say there was a viral post on r slash confessions that I think would be really funny to read, but obviously we had to sponsor this episode.
You know, I feel like it's a very, very funny post, I have to say. I'm not gonna read all of it right now, but just the title is wow.
uh,
I think
how about
maybe we could go and read like Reddit stories another time. I feel like that might be a
yeah?
good idea for
I th-
a future
how about
episode.
yeah? I think we were planning on having a guest next week. Maybe we can do that with our guest. We we could we could do that. We can make our guest read that post out loud.
I don't know who our guest is, you know. I'm still in the dark about it, but
I know,
that
right? And I'm not
it
gonna
would be very
tell anyone else either. So fuck you. It's between me and the guest right now,
all
and
right. Well,
it'll be a huge surprise.
I guess we'll end it on the big red button question, and you know, on hopefully y'all tuning in next week to see who the surprise guest is, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Can't wait to show you guys my horrific atrocity of a Reddit post that I found.
Did you read it already? Because I didn't.
I did read it. I did read it, and it's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
I Yeah, there's a couple Reddit posts that I've read too that I think are pretty interesting, but we'll save that for a different time for sure.
yeah. So yeah, should be a guest episode next week. Don't quote us on it, but I think we should be able to have that. I'm very excited about it. This is a guest that I've been wanting to have for a very long time, and very excited about that. But yeah, stay tuned for next week. Thank you for listening to us. Remember to support us on Patreon and on Twitter. It's twitter.com/IIHS podcast or at IIHS podcast on Twitter. And then on Patreon, it's patreon.com/IIHS podcast. There's 2 tiers. Um, our lower tier, you get shout outs in every episode for the month. And in our upper tier, you get shout outs as well as ad free episodes as soon as they get uploaded, instead of waiting until Tuesday. And they're ad free. So, yeah, go and give it a shot. It's only $5 for a month. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys listening to us. And we'll see you guys next week. I've been incredibly influential.
And I've been highly successful.
See ya. Bye now.